my prayer was just like, save me and Robin.
Even ex-spouses can put aside bitterness during tragedy. But Kody Brown couldn't even drive Mary to her dying mother. Every so often, Sister Wives manages to strip away the theatrics and reveal something far more haunting than staged drama.
We're in a state of friendship.
In a recent episode, Mary Brown confessed that she has effectively been living as a single woman for nearly a decade. Her lament was devastating in its simplicity.
So Kody wasn't coming to your house at all. Was he even checking in on you? What was he doing at this time?
Well, we would text and...
She could not recall the last time anyone bothered to check if she arrived somewhere safely. Not her husband, not her so-called family. No one. In a household that once prided itself on communal love and sisterhood, Mary has become the invisible widow, abandoned long before her marriage was officially pronounced dead.
I was on my way that I got the call.
The cruelty of her isolation came into sharp relief when her mother was dying. Mary had to drive herself through emotional collapse to reach her mother's side, only to arrive too late. No one accompanied her. No one even thought to. Even an estranged ex-husband in many cases would show that much decency. Yet Kody, married to her for decades, bound to her family for just as long, couldn't be bothered. One would think he might have mustered the bare minimum of respect for his former mother-in-law, a woman beloved by many in the family. Instead, he displayed his usual cocktail of apathy and self-absorption.
If Robin was to get sick, my first reaction would be, I need to be there to nurse her and help.
A man whose compassion seems to extend only to Robin and her children. This neglect is not a minor oversight. It is the kind of silence that echoes louder than any words. The opposite of love is not hate, it is indifference. And Mary has endured indifference in spades. While viewers were once outraged that Janelle received no condolence cards from Robin's children when her mother passed, few seem willing to acknowledge that Mary has been subjected to precisely the same cold disregard for years. To be fair, Mary's mother's death unfolded suddenly, and perhaps there was no time to rally support, but such excuses collapse under the weight of a larger pattern. This family has never shown Mary the care she deserves. Instead, they have happily accepted her financial contributions, her time, and her loyalty, all while offering nothing in return.
I had sent a text specifically because I just wanted to let you guys know.
Even Robin, the supposed ally, has kept her children at arm's length from Mary, and yet Mary continued to buy gifts and pour effort into relationships that never reciprocated. The irony is grotesque.
Right?
I haven't for a long time. I haven't for years had a good relationship really with Mary or Robin.
For years, Mary was vilified by Janelle and Christine, marginalized within her own household. When Robin arrived, she offered Mary a fleeting sense of friendship, but even that dissolved into another form of neglect.
20 years from now, us just living by ourselves as the only polygamists.
Now, Mary is expected to play nice about land disputes and family politics, as though decades of disrespect and erasure should be overlooked for the sake of harmony.
So Kody wasn't coming to your house at all. Was he even checking in?
It is this grotesque imbalance that makes her comment about wishing for someone to check if she arrived safely so devastating. It was not a demand for grand gestures, but a plea for the smallest flicker of care, one that never came.
Romance and sex are saved for people who are in love.
Mary Brown is far from flawless, but in a family where she gave everything, she has received nothing. The day she finally turns her fury on Kody and claims her self-worth will be the only satisfying conclusion to her story. Until then, viewers are left watching a woman who once believed in plural love, now navigating a life defined by loneliness, betrayal, and the deafening silence of people who simply do not care. Robin Brown's house tour isn't proof of good money management. It's proof of manipulation. Robin Brown's next act of manipulation is practically scripted already. Now that her house was briefly on the market, and therefore cleared out to some degree, one can fully expect TLC's cameras to be invited inside. The goal? To stage a visual alibi. Empty rooms will be paraded around as proof that she is not, in fact, a compulsive shopper, hoarder, or reckless spender.
Every single time I start thinking about and planning for a holiday.
And once the set is properly dressed, she'll pivot to her favorite role, the misunderstood victim, unfairly accused by everyone else. This isn't just reality television anymore. It's a public service announcement on how to spot a toxic personality in real time.
Thing I've ever seen in my life.
This house is like $175.
Robin even let slip in a couch interview that she simply has nicer things because she manages her money better than the other wives. It was said with the kind of smug self-assurance that all but dares the audience to demand receipts. If this woman has cracked the code of financial genius, perhaps she can enlighten the rest of the world. Of course, TLC doesn't make things any easier. The show plods along years behind reality.
Sex, we're not going to talk about money.
Splicing in footage from 2020 while calling it 2021, dragging the audience through recycled storylines as though no one will notice. At this rate, Robin's carefully staged home tour won't even air until 3 seasons from now, by which time the evidence will be as dated as the furniture she quietly replaced. And when the cameras finally do roll up the driveway, expect the scene to be peppered with multiple U-Hauls. Anything cleared out will conveniently never return, instead replaced with yet another round of retail therapy. Viewers can already anticipate the punchline. Robin coyly warning, "Don't open that door to the spare room or the shed out back."
Hang on, hey, there's some stuff I gotta trade out so it goes to storage with the RV.
Because behind every carefully curated facade lies the storage unit of truth. Everyone thinks Robin just wants family unity. The truth? It's never been about Christmas. It's about control.
You know, Christmas was tragic for me. I feel like
Robin Brown's lament over her perfect Christmas is less about holiday spirit and more about control. If she truly craves the plural lifestyle she claims to miss, the obvious solution would be to let Kody dust off his courting skills and bring in a few new wives. 2, 3, perhaps even 4. After all, for authenticity's sake, why not recreate the age gaps and dynamics she once benefited from? Surely there are always candidates. If women are willing to marry serial killers on death row, Kody Brown shouldn't have much trouble finding takers. There's a lid for every pot. Or in his case, every dumpster. Robin's contradictions are exhausting. One year, Mary graciously offered her home for Christmas, a neutral ground for everyone. Robin dismissed it as scary.
it's just Mary, my kids, and Kody and I. We're just gonna make it the best day.
The next year, she weeps about not having her ideal holiday. Which is it? She cannot demand control over the narrative while rejecting solutions that don't center her. Her gatekeeping extends beyond holiday decor. Even the children's relationships are brokered through her. When the original Brown kids attempted to reach out to Robin's, contact stalled until it could be filtered through her approval.
Last year before Christmas, and it was about the kids getting together, exchanging gifts and everything. There was
Zoom calls were apparently impossible unless Robin orchestrated them herself. Ultimately, she had McKelty deliver the news that she was done with the rest of the family, cementing the false story that her children were rejected when, in reality, they were never given full access to the so-called Brown family island. The irony runs deeper still. Robin, the self-appointed champion of family unity, once married her younger sister's boyfriend. Yet she now lectures others on loyalty and togetherness while imposing impossible standards on everyone else's Christmas.
Christmas has gone by, but we're going to have a Christmas basically with them.
Families with multiple children and in-laws understand compromise. Holidays are spread out, traditions evolve, and celebrations stretch over days to accommodate everyone. The joy of the season is in the flexibility, not in the performance of a picture-perfect tableau. Meanwhile, Kody plays Santa Claus one year, everyone gets a dirt bike, only to pivot the next year to exclusivity, declaring he is thrilled to spend the holiday with only Robin.
We just got through the holidays, and it was our first holidays.
For the rest of the family, this isn't about dirt bikes or decorations. It's about enduring the first holidays without a loved one, a reality far removed from Robin's theatrical quest for perfection. If she is truly desperate to replicate her old plural life experience, then let her be consistent. Bring in new wives with bad credit, failing business ventures, and children from previous marriages. Let her bankroll their disasters and watch Kody repeat the same patterns of divorces and adoptions that once secured her own place. Perhaps then Robin would discover that the perfect Christmas was never about the lights, the tree, or even the guest list. It was about power. And that, she already has in spades. Everyone says Robin saved the Brown family. Here's the truth. She may have been the one who broke it apart.
Okay, because she was being told by Robin. He still says he loves you. That's bull.
If Mary Brown's downfall could be traced to a single person, the case against Robin practically writes itself. Time and again, Robin positioned herself as the confidant, the best friend, while quietly orchestrating circumstances that undermined Mary at every turn.
And that wasn't from the catfishing.
The infamous catfishing scandal is a prime example. Robin's friend Kendra was allegedly involved, yet Robin claimed to have only learned about the situation through public information. Oddly convenient, considering Mary had just told the family herself. The Browns' reactions on camera were polished performances, carefully masking a fallout that had been simmering privately long before Alaska was staged as the family's big drama. Janelle's later remark that Alaska was her favorite family trip only underscored the farce. She appeared to forget it was ever treated as a catastrophic event. In reality, everyone knew. Leon knew, Kody knew, and if Kody knew, so did Robin, his so-called most loyal confidant.
I want to work with at-risk youth.
Then came the sabotage of Mary's ambitions. When Mary wanted to return to school to work with at-risk youth, Robin dangled her tacky jewelry business as a chain around her neck.
Listen, I'm just trying to get a commitment from Bonnie and Mary.
When Mary longed to invest in her family inn and carry on her grandmother's legacy, Robin whined about needing childcare. A supportive friend might feel sadness at the change but ultimately cheer on someone pursuing fulfillment. Robin, however, only seemed capable of measuring every decision by how it affected her own convenience.
Just had an appointment with the lawyer about getting a legal divorce.
Even the legal divorce, framed as a noble move to allow Kody to adopt Robin's children, bore Robin's fingerprints. It was presented as a family decision, but it served one person above all, Robin. The irony is suffocating. Mary, the wife who was most loyal to her, became the one most betrayed.
Typically, for Thanksgiving, I do the turkey because, well...
The pattern continues in the small details. Robin usurped Mary's long-standing role of cooking the Thanksgiving turkey, despite not being able to cook. During COVID, she blocked Mary from visiting, even though Kody himself had asked her to come. These weren't accidents. They were calculated exclusions, designed to isolate Mary further.
Like all the kids, to get them all in the same space again, I think that would be.
Robin's selfishness didn't just fracture her relationships with the other wives. It inflicted the deepest wounds on Mary and even her own children. Aligning herself with Robin placed Mary on the wrong side of the family divide, where she was not only used, but repeatedly victimized.
That I would try to cause some sort of disharmony in the family.
Robin Brown has often portrayed herself as the peacemaker, the loyal wife, the doting mother. Yet her track record tells another story. A manipulator whose greatest loyalty is to herself, and whose most significant casualty was the woman who trusted her the most. They call it true love. But what if Kody's obsession with Robin was never love at all? Just plain old lust?
When you're bringing up the dramatic things in your life, there's certain things that you want to.
What unfolded in this saga was not a love story, but a transaction.
I want to be a part of that team.
Robin didn't merely want the man. She wanted the ready-made family package. Meanwhile, Kody, ever the emotional lightweight, mistook lust for love. Or perhaps he never bothered to distinguish between the two.
Kody was always very focused that you were cleaned up and put together.
He was dazzled by a woman who treated him like the star attraction at a discount denim runway show. And suddenly, the original three wives were little more than background props. Robin entered as the trophy wife, conveniently aligned with Kody's newfound fame. He gained validation. She gained instant family.
So when we tell you that really the kids are all ours.
The problem? The OG3 were busy holding the actual household together, working, cooking, cleaning, and raising children, while Robin outsourced motherhood to a nanny so she could remain available for customer service.
Over a year. It's great.
Time has not exactly been kind to the supposed prize. In the early years, Robin's image carried the glow of novelty, but as the seasons passed, the mask slipped. The sharpness of her inner bitterness crept outward, while Christine and Janelle, liberated from Kody's ego circus, radiate more vibrancy with each passing year. Even Mary, after finally severing ties with him, seems lighter and better for it.
My prayer was just like, save me and Robin.
Yet Kody remains shackled to his narrative. Having confused surface-level attraction with eternal devotion, he now clings to the idea of an epic love story.
Are you the head of the family?
The truth is less flattering. Robin caters to his fragile ego, offering him the worship and applause he craves, while the original wives had the audacity to build real partnerships rather than inflate his sense of self. For a man who thrives on being the center of a fan club, authenticity felt like disloyalty.
Truly is actually going to be number 13.
And so the OG3 were cast as collateral damage. 13 children's worth of history pushed aside in favor of Robin's relentless adoration. She may have wanted the family, but the family never wanted her. Judging by the awkward dynamics ever since, it's not difficult to see why. They call it a family discussion, but what really happened was one of the cruelest setups in Sister Wives history. Revisiting the infamous Utah conversation, one can't help but marvel at the sheer cruelty of Kody Brown's theatrics.
Christine, the talk we had on the property, I'm not trying to be pushy.
Christine tentatively floated the idea of moving back, and Kody, ever the chameleon, pretended to support her. He dangled just enough false assurance to make her believe he'd back her up, only to pull a full 180 in front of the wives and leave her twisting in the wind. The performance wasn't just betrayal. It was sadistic. He wanted her to hurt, and the gleam of satisfaction on his face made it clear he enjoyed every second.
But I'm like, other people want to see us all the
Christine
time.
is on a vacation.
A cheap act of revenge, perhaps, for the grave crime of Christine daring to travel and see their children without his permission. This is the same man who put on an equally preposterous show during Isabel's surgery discussion, wringing his hands in performative anguish while making it abundantly clear he had no intention of being there. The fact that he and Robin could later act stunned that Christine wanted out of this circus is laughable.
About whether I'm supposed to be involved in their life.
Cruelty is not a side effect of his choices. It's the goal. Kody's cruelty extends far beyond Christine. Consider Mary, dangling from the hook of false hope. He embraced her, whispered about romance in Flagstaff, suggested this new chapter could rekindle something between them, and then, naturally, withdrew once she'd given him what he wanted. Classic bait and switch. It wasn't affection. It was manipulation designed to keep her orbiting him just enough to feed his ego.
Now we're just friends.
And now, even as their relationship lies in ruins, he occasionally tosses out flirtations, as though she might be dim enough to believe his interest is genuine. His behavior reveals a consistent pattern.
They've always been able to blame me because
he gets off on hurting the women while making them believe the knife came from someone else's hand. He thrives on chaos, deflecting responsibility and delighting in the spectacle. The Utah debacle also exposes his real loyalties. He may have wanted to move back, but once Robin declared she wasn't budging, his position evaporated instantly.
I don't believe him that he's sorry.
Christine's pain never factored into his decision-making. Why would it? In his eyes, Robin is the only sentient being in the family. Everyone else, wives, children included, are mere props. He feigns concern for her kids only because it earns him points with her. Robin is his obsession, his drug of choice, and the rest are expendable. And yet, the overlooked twist in this entire episode comes not from Kody, but from Janelle. She openly admitted that if they moved back to Utah, she'd stay behind. That wasn't logistics. It was a declaration that such a move would end her marriage. By saying so, she effectively put Christine's desperate wish in the coffin. In that moment, Kody chose Janelle over Christine, and the betrayal was quietly swept under the rug. This wasn't just a family disagreement. It was one of the most calculated, mean-spirited setups ever broadcast. Kody orchestrated it, Robin vetoed it, Janelle undercut it, and Christine was left to carry the humiliation alone. A perfect snapshot of the Brown family dynamic. Cruelty as currency. Loyalty traded like poker chips. And Christine, once again, the designated scapegoat. They didn't just lose money. Kody and Robin may have planned the betrayal from the very beginning. The question of whether Janelle and Mary will ever see repayment for the down payment they handed over to Robin's house is less a legal battle and more a morality play.
He would do this thing like, well, you're not being a team player. Like, he'd make you feel bad for...
On paper, the money was a gift, which, legally speaking, means they might as well have set it on fire. Unless their names appear on the deed or the mortgage, there is no case. The tragedy isn't just that they lost the money. It's that they handed it over in the first place, fully aware that their relationships with Kody and Robin were already crumbling. Still, the optics are sickening. Funds that could have been secured in a trust for all the children instead went straight into Robin's fortress of financial security, while everyone else was left juggling scraps.
I have an attorney.
The idea that Mary and Janelle haven't formed a united legal front to claw back their money is baffling. A competent forensic accountant could unravel exactly where the so-called family money disappeared, yet they've seemed reluctant to wage war. Perhaps wounds run too deep, or perhaps they already know the fight would be futile.
According to our religion, sister wives are supposed to advocate for each other.
The irony is rich. For years, Kody preached the gospel of sister-wife solidarity while actively sabotaging any closeness among them. His goal was always to remain the gravitational center, ensuring the women orbited him rather than each other. This manipulation paid off.
Janelle and I just are not super close.
Janelle and Mary, who could have been allies, instead found themselves divided, in part because Christine's fractured relationship with Mary left an irreparable rift. When cooperation finally does occur, it's rare, almost shocking, as though collaboration itself is an act of rebellion against Kody's design.
I'm the one who gets the taxes to the accountant. I see how the money was dispersed.
Financially, the whole family was reckless. Janelle, once the de facto accountant, surely understood how precarious their system was. Yet even she was drawn into the black hole of family funds. The money disappeared under the guise of collective benefit, but in reality, it was always a funnel leading straight to Robin and her children. That was the unspoken agreement between Kody and his favorite wife. Present each move as being for the good of the family, while quietly ensuring the only beneficiaries were themselves. Now, the best-case scenario for Janelle and Mary isn't repayment, but equity from Coyote Pass. At least their names are tied to that land, and they paid into it, meaning they have some legal leverage. But even then, fairness is unlikely.
Nothing scares me but poverty.
Kody's fear of poverty all but guarantees he will cling to every dime, and Robin's trademark excuse that it's impossible to determine what's owed will continue to shield them from accountability.
But I'm worried that somehow this will mean that you somehow start favoring Robin.
The truth is, Janelle called it years ago when Kody legally married Robin. The financial betrayal was inevitable. The other wives were never going to see justice, because justice was never part of the plan. If Kody finds new lows, you'll find them here first. Subscribe.